Hello guys and welcome to another healing guide, this time covering Star Augur aka Starboy. I've recently defeated the boss and I decided to do a little healing overview guide that's mainly concerning restoration druids, but it should cover a general healing population. So first of all, let's look at the talents that are probably the best for resto druid. In here, most people actually who kill this boss opted to go with termination, because of the double rejuvenation for targets that have ice ejection, because ice ejection can lead to a lot of deaths. But it's all based on your setup. If you have if you're actually tree healing it, and if you have a paladin, you can opt out to use germination or spring blossoms or even inner peace. It really is dependent on your setup. If you're using 3 healers, if you're using 4 healers, even if you're using 2 healers, it's all very dependent. The safest option, germination, because for the 2 rejuvenations on the targets to get icy ejection in the frost phase, which I'll cover later on. Also, guardian affinity. If you feel that when you're trying out the boss, if you're actually dying to frost, then you might want to get the guardian affinity. Otherwise, get the balance affinity for increased range, because range can be a big issue, especially if you're at the very edge and somebody needs to be healed is on the other edge. You might not be able to heal them and therefore they die. So it's your choice based on how your tries are going. So let's go. It has 3 phases. All of those 3 phases, I would say, are equal in difficulty, which makes this boss quite interesting, because all the phases are quite interesting and there's always anything basically can happen. So you need to make sure that the guild basically does it perfectly. But right now, it's we killed it before patch 7.2. After patch 7.2, multiple add-ons won't be able to work, and actually the duration of the marks will increase, making this boss a little easier. This is probably to counter the add-on, basically to counter that the friendly nameplates won't be working. So keep that in mind when you're going to be watching the video or doing the boss after 7.2. So like I said, he has 3 phases: frost phase, what I call, fell phase, and the add phase, which is the last phase. First, in the frost phase, you only get icy ejections that basically can kill you. The only thing that's actually dangerous. This phase is basically where your paladin is going to carry, because it is a single target healing is the most important here. All you can do is basically double rejuvenate people that have icy ejection, and maybe life bloom and scenario ward certain people. There's going to be an increased damage during 1 minute and 30 and 2 minutes 30 seconds, where you will get 6 ice ejections at each stage. With those 6 ice ejections, you have to make sure that you rejuvenate as many people as possible. I recommend using obviously flourish, because it's a minute in between, using flourish for both phases, and saving essence of Ganir for the phase that you feel you'll need most healing, which is usually at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but it's based on your tries. Then you go to fell phase, which is basically where the healers who can move and heal are going to dominate, because if you're actually lucky, you'll be moving for 80% of the fight, because it depends on how often you get fell ejection, which basically keeps you moving for most of the fight. In here, you can just huddle people that have the debuff. The debuff is quite powerful. So if you're running with anything with 3 healers or 2 healers, you will have to get double rejuvenations on the targets that have fell ejection. Otherwise, they will die. Like I said, there's a lot of movement. This is where resto druids are really good, and you should make sure that you're doing the most healing while moving. And finally, the 3rd phase, which is I call the add phase. In here, you basically stack when the add spawns, and you always move when you get Grand Conjunction. And I should have mentioned, Grand Conjunction happens throughout the fight, where you have to spread out and basically reach a target with your sign. So this happens throughout the fight. So in the 3rd phase, you stack up when the add spawns, you spread out when Grand Conjunction happen. The add will cast Witness of the Void, which is heavy AoE damage. All you can do is wild growth and huddle people as much as possible. In this phase, germination is actually very weak, because the whole raid is taking a lot of damage. So if you are actually struggling in phase 3 and you have the first 2 phases quite handled, I would recommend going Spring Blossom for that phase, because double regeneration is not as good. But there's a lot of AoE damage, people are not moving as much. The big thing here is that the damage prevention is the king here, so therefore things like Devotion Aura, Spirit Link Totem are really good. But Tranquility is great, but I mean, if you can't survive the damage coming in, Tranquility is useless. But this is all based on your setup, and have fun on this boss, as I found it quite interesting and quite challenging, and I'll see you in my next healing guide.